Welcome to English Planet. Join us on Facebook page. And don't forget to like.
We always need you to be in our planet.
Hi, Marwa Amin, English teacher and an expert in teaching IELTS. Today we're going to assess what our candidate has done in terms to the speaking assessment criteria that we have for the IELTS.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Ahmed. I'm gonna be your examiner today. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Can I see your ID, please?
Yeah.
I want to know what is your full name.
Yes, my full name is Muhammad Ahmed Rajab Shahada.
Okay, and how old are you?
Actually, I am 23 years old.
Okay.
And
Are you working or studying?
actually, I'm not working now. And actually, I'm not studying. I graduated last year from Faculty of Commerce, Alexandria University, with a major in Management Information Systems. And I am preparing myself now for making a master degree. Yeah, I live in when I go to every day to my college. I meet some of them when I go down on the stairs, and sometimes when I go back from lectures or some events outside of my home, I meet them at the gate of my building, and we chat a little bit and we say hi to each others, and sometimes I help them.
Okay.
Some of one of the most significant problem with neighbors with each others is that the loud noise at the night, especially on holidays, and you hear a loud noise and blah 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 blah, something like this. And actually, it's a big problem for all people who has an insomnia or problems in their sleeping.
Okay. So
Yeah, I think neighbor can help each other by visiting each other on holidays and drinking some teas, 3 cups of tea and coffee, and by helping each other in a difficult situations. For example, if someone is seeking for help to handle a heavy boxes, so maybe younger neighbors can help them in that.
okay. So now moving to part 2. I want you to describe a time when you were asked to give your opinion in a questionnaire or a survey. Do you understand?
Okay, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm going to talk about my opinion about a questionnaire. I was asked about to give my opinion in it. Actually, the questionnaire was about what is your recommendation to develop the higher education, which is the university and colleges education, and why, and I gave my opinion because I was actually a university student, and I lived the real world experience as a college student, and my recommendations were about to build a new universities, and actually to immerse the universities students into the industry world by making a cooperations between universities and factories, so that the students can go to and internships in these companies or firms and solve real world problems by using their experience and knowledge and theoretical and practical skills they were taught in their universities, so that they can apply what they have learned in the college. And actually, when I gave my opinion about this problem, I was very proud, because I wished that it may help to develop the higher education in Egypt, and it was really a great opportunity to express my feeling about it, so that it was a real opinion of mine. Yeah, actually, I want to add one more thing, which is the questionnaire were made by also a students in age of mine, and the conversation between us was friendly, and it was really an amazing way to express my opinions about a very significant problem we live in our society today.
Okay. Thank you for this.
Thank you.
So I want to ask you some more questions. So what kind of organization want to find out about people's opinion?
Yeah, there is some organizations that is meet about the opinions of people internationally. It's called the UNESCO, and it is meant about the development in developing countries, like for example South Africa, and it takes these opinions and recommendation from these people and deliver it to the leaders of these countries. For example, in Uganda, there is a lack of water, and the UNESCO takes recommendations and opinions and what the farmers in Uganda face in everyday in their farming activities, and then it delivers these opinions and recommendations to the president of Uganda in the United Nations yearly meeting.
Okay.
And after that,
That's enough.
yes,
So do you think questionnaire or survey are a good way of finding out people's opinion?
of course, because it's very simple and it takes less time than investigation field, and of course it's very cheap way to collect a lot of information from a lot of people in a short period of time, as well as it doesn't cost a lot of money.
Okay.
I think, or in my opinion, the time constraint, because some people may not have enough time to give their opinions, because some surveys take a lot of time to fill up, and that maybe affect the time or the appointments of other people, especially the working class in every society. And although it may be a frustrated method, because some people don't like to write a lot of information, or don't like to type for a long time, and
Okay.
that
That's enough.
yes.
As we know, we have four main criteria upon which we evaluate candidate for his speaking skills. Okay, well. The first of which is fluency and coherence. Second of which is lexical resource. The third is grammatical range, and the fourth is pronunciation. Let's start with the first one, which is fluency and coherence. In a quick way, in a nutshell, what is fluency and coherence? Fluency is your ability to speak without pausing that much, so as to have a flow of ideas being talked about. I feel that you are speaking as if you were a native speaker of this language. You do not take much time to think of how to say what you want to say. You know what you want to say, but sometimes you do not know how to phrase what you want to say. So if you are fluent enough, you're able to speak at, let's say, a kind of pace with no regular pauses. When it comes to coherence, coherence is your ability to let's say, organize ideas and to show some kind of connection between these ideas using some linking words. Like, for example, if you're telling me, give me some advantages of a certain matter, I can say, first of all, secondly, another point is that, moreover, these stuff conduct a kind of coherence in your talk. With our candidate, he was fluent to a great extent. He was able to express what he wants to say with flow of ideas. He paused it a little bit, but it wasn't that huge big thing.
In terms of accuracy, I think this candidate was a bit accurate, with a little mistake can be noticed in his pronunciation and his lack of coherent device. He can use some of them, but not all of them use in the right usage for it exactly.
When it comes to lexical resource, our candidate misses a lot of topical vocabulary. What do I mean by topical vocabulary? We need people to use vocabulary items related to a certain topic. If, for example, I'm talking about networking, I need to use some kind of routers, switches, ports, some lexical items, maybe a bit technical related to the topic. If I'm talking about neighbors, I can speak about relations, I can speak about places, I can speak about what we can say, things regarding their personality. So I can use some topical vocabulary that shows the examiner that I am able to speak about this topic with some vocabulary related to it. So our candidate, I believe, used very simple vocab, and he lacked this topical vocabulary. So we need to enhance our topical vocabulary. And how can we do this? We can do this by reading a lot about different topics related to the IELTS. When it comes to repetitiveness, unfortunately, our candidate was a bit repetitive in using some lexical items. Of course, he had this actually a lot being used. In general, it's okay, but if we can lessen this a bit, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be better. When it comes to synonyms, he was repeating the word opinion, for example, a lot. Maybe one time I can say point of view, opinion, the way I see something, the way I understand something, the way I believe in something, the way I see things, I think, instead of opinion being repeated more than, he repeated the word opinion more than 3 times or 4 times. Let's talk about pronunciation. In pronunciation, some people miss or they confuse or they get confused between accent and pronunciation. Well, to have an accent, it's not the major thing when it comes to the IELTS. So I can have a combination of accents. I can have a combination of British, American, Australian accents. I can have a mere British one. I can have a mere American one. What's important is that you use correct pronunciation rather than the accent. So even with our what we call Egyptian accent, it is okay as long as you pronounce words or lexical items in a correct way. So our candidate here was okay, but when it came to the P and B, so the P and B sounds, he needs to work on that. He needs to work on his th and the sounds as well. So these sounds are important. As I'm always telling people, if you travel abroad with your pronunciation mistakes, it's no big deal. If you work in a certain place, abroad even, as long as you deliver the message, the thing is okay. What makes the whole difference is this: when it comes to the IELTS, you need to pronounce words well, and the correct positioning of stress as well has to be taken into consideration. When I say, for example, not forget, it's forget, not forget, for example, it is forget. The stress is on get, for example.
In terms of accent, he didn't try to memorize any ordinary accents that's found around the world, like American or British accent. He has his natural accent with a clear voice, which is the main important thing when it comes to the IELTS test.
Something else I wanted to add when it comes to his grammatical range, well, this candidate was able to express himself with a range of tenses, I believe. Most of the time he made a good use of tenses. So if he spoke in the past, he gave some examples using the past simple tense, When he spoke in the present, he gave some examples using the present simple tense. The thing is that he was okay in terms of usage of different tenses or a range of tenses. When it comes to structures, as we say, when we speak, we have different structures of a sentence. The sentence can be simple, the sentence can be complex or compound. We need in our IELTS to make an extra usage of complex and compound structures rather than the simple ones. Most of the candidates' sentences were a bit simple. What do I mean by simple? That they were subject, verb, and object. They lacked the idea of combination of two sentences together in one. Like, for example, when I say, although something happened, something else was done. Do you get my point? So we need to make use of complex and compound structures, structures using if, using when, using while, using although, using however, using and, using nor, or. These stuff will make your sentences sound a bit advanced by the idea of using compound and complex ones. That was all for our assessment.
You can notice that the candidate tried to correct for himself more than one, which is a good sign that he's knowing the word, but because of the stress and the exam condition, he used it wrong. But he was able to correct himself. He cannot avoid the repetition of some words like opinion and actually.
One more note we can add is the candidate's correction of himself or of the mistakes he made. It is okay to correct yourself, but don't do this excessively. It gives a negative indication to the examiner. So try to go and be fluent as long as it doesn't affect this mistake you made, doesn't affect the meaning. It's okay to get over it or to let it go. If you correct yourself once or twice, it's totally okay. More than this, just try to let it go. Do not keep on trying to say, oh, I made a mistake with this, I made a mistake with that. As long as the talk is going on and it didn't affect the meaning to a great extent, it's totally fine to make some little tiny mistakes. And remember, it's not your mother tongue, it's your second language.
I think for me, for all this, we might give under the examination condition from 6 to 6.5. الفيديو ده اتصور في فلوكس كووركينج سبيس. تقدر لو عايز تذاكر، عندك مشروع تخرج او عندك اي حاجة تحب تعملها، هتلاقي الجو متعاون جدا. لو عايز تنفذ اي حاجة او عايز تسأل عن اي حاجة، هتلاقي مجتمع حواليك من الناس اللي حابين فعلا يشتغلوا يقدروا يساعدوك في كده. وهتلاقي هنا الإدارة متفاهمة جدا والأسعار متاحة للجميع. شكرا ليكم ونشوفكم على خير.